Who's in charge of housing anyway?
Ontario is facing a housing crisis decades in the making.
This probably isn't news to you. There are lots of reasons for it, but one big reason, it's nobody's job to fix it. Let me explain. The provincial government is responsible for hospitals. Same goes for your neighborhood school. The federal government, meanwhile, runs Canada Post and regulates your internet service provider. The feds can't tell Ontario how to run its schools, and Ontario can't tell the feds how to manage the post office. What does this all have to do with housing? In the immortal words of your 2008 Facebook relationship status, it's complicated. That's because the Constitution doesn't make any one level of government responsible for ensuring we have enough homes. So you've got the federal government that regulates banks. Mortgages are a pretty important part of home ownership, as are personal savings. Have you heard of the first home savings account? Federal taxation powers also play a huge role. Finicky details can be the difference in getting rental housing built or not. The provinces have a bigger role. Your home needs to be connected to roads, electricity, and water. Almost all of that is either built or regulated by provinces. The provinces also write planning laws that shape growth, basically what kind of buildings are allowed to be built where. Local governments don't have responsibilities spelled out in the Constitution, but they've been delegated some critical rules. Why does any of this matter? Nobody's driving the housing bus. There's no unified plan. The feds, the provinces, and municipalities can all take wildly different approaches which lead to bad outcomes, even if nobody means to. This isn't just theory. If Ottawa allows lots of new people into the country, the provinces and municipalities need to get housing built. If not, more people chase fewer homes. Provinces, meanwhile, have lots of power, but they can't escape the effects of federal banking rules or tax changes. It's not possible in Canada to have a housing czar, a single person responsible for ending the housing crisis. It's always going to take cooperation between the federal and provincial governments. So, are we doomed? No. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a Canada that hadn't built enough houses during or prior to a global catastrophe. Multiple families cram into houses, often in poor conditions. Tent encampments fill public spaces. Toronto complains that it has no room for new immigrants. Different levels of government can't agree on how best to solve the problem. Sound familiar? You might think I'm talking about today, but this is Canada immediately after the Second World War. Only that time we solved the crisis and came to a consensus that lasted for decades. The how is both fascinating and instructive, and too much to get into here. So for that story, you can click here for part 2 of this video. Thanks for watching this episode of Nerds on Politics. If you have questions about provincial politics, you can find me on X at @JM_McGrath. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, and click anywhere around me for more helpful explainers. See you next time.